In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everyone. This is Mayor Cyril Jefferson convening a regular meeting of the High Point City Council. We appreciate you all being here with us. Here at the dais, we have every member of council present. We're going to ask you all to join us here in just a second for a moment of silence and for Pledge of Allegiance. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first order of business is to adopt our agenda for this evening. I would note that under general business, we have two items that we are going to add for discussion. One will be the Mayor Pro Tem vote for this City Council for the calendar year 2026. And the second item we'll add will be a resolution for early voting sites in High Point. With those two agenda items being added, is there a motion to approve our amended agenda?
So moved.
Second. Motion's been made by Councilmember Holmes, second by Councilmember Andrew. Any discussion on that motion to approve our adopted agenda with those additional items that I mentioned? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any against? The ayes have it, and that motion passes. Our first proclamation is in honor and celebration of the upcoming Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. And I'm going to ask if the Reverend Dr. Frank Thomas, who is a community leader here and a faith leader, and who played an avid role in getting MLK Road here in town, if you'll come up, and then anyone else here who would be willing to accept this proclamation for MLK Day, will you please join Reverend Frank Thomas? Come on, y'all. You acting bashful. Like you was nervous or something. How you doing, man? Good to see you again. Appreciate you being here. Whereas, come on. There you go. Come on, right here. All right, here we go. Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., born on January 15th, 1929, was a Baptist minister, scholar, and visionary civil rights leader whose moral courage and unwavering commitment to nonviolent action transformed the conscience of a nation and advanced the cause of justice, equality, and human dignity for all people. And whereas, through his leadership of the modern civil rights movement, Dr. King worked tirelessly to dismantle segregation, challenge systemic racism, and secure fundamental rights through peaceful protest, civic engagement, and faith in the power of collective action. And whereas Dr. King challenged our nation to confront injustice and inequality wherever they existed, calling upon communities to replace hatred with understanding, division with unity, and despair with hope, while reminding us that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And whereas his teachings emphasize service to others, respect for human worth, and the responsibility of individuals and institutions alike to work toward a society grounded in fairness, opportunity, and mutual respect. And whereas the enduring legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. continues to inspire individuals, organizations, and communities to engage in acts of service, promote civil discourse, and strive toward a more just, inclusive, and compassionate society. And whereas the City of High Point recognizes the importance of honoring Dr. King's life and legacy, it reaffirms its commitment to the principles he championed, including equality under the law, peaceful progress, and the shared responsibility to build a stronger community for present and future generations. Now, therefore, I, Cyril Jefferson, Mayor of the very proud city of High Point, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim that this city honors the life and enduring legacy of Dr. King and encourages all citizens to reflect on his teachings and recommit themselves to upholding the values of justice, equality, service, and peace within our community and beyond. Come together for a picture. Come together for a picture. We'd like to invite all of our front row guests to come to the front row.
Yeah, shorter.
If you're not normally in the back row, don't go to the back row. Here, you want to hold this with me? There you go. Thank you so much. No, go ahead. Yeah.
Since Mayor Jefferson called me out, one thing that if he hadn't learned by now, I do want to share with you, you don't give a preacher a microphone and an opportunity. But I will say, in honor of Dr. King, it's hard to believe, for those of you that are here and were here, it's hard to believe that it's been 10 years that we celebrated the renaming of Martin Luther King Drive here in High Point. And what's even more striking is that there are people who come to this city now, children who are born in this city now, will come to a place that they will never know that it never existed. So I am thankful that God gave me the strength to lead the charge, but I cannot take any credit. The only credit I can take is that I ran with the baton that had been passed to me. And I'm happy that I was able to run my leg with strength and to completion. And one of these days, may not be MLK Drive, but I'll be happy to pass the baton to the next person.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
And Reverend Frank Thomas didn't mention it, but this next weekend, there's a series of events taking place. One is an event that Reverend Frank Thomas and the entire Ministers Conference is involved in, and that's the breakfast next Monday, but then there's parade next Sunday, there's a gala next Saturday, and then day of service. There's multiple days of service actually next weekend. I know the city does something this Friday, but then a number of folks do day of service next Monday. And so if you're curious, anyone at all, and volunteering in our community, some level of service to our community, please get involved. Come out and celebrate some of those events. Hope to see you there at the parade. Thank you all so much. Our next honor that we're going to recognize is a proclamation, a celebration of the Walk for Peace. Many of you all may have been following on the news or even on social media, where you've seen a group of humans with an indomitable will walking thousands of miles across our country, from Texas all the way to the nation's capital. And High Point happens to be very lucky, not only that we're the best doggone city on the planet, but very lucky that we happen to be in that pathway. And at some point over the next 7 days, I know we're going to welcome them into our city. We'll confirm those details here soon, because they're walking 20 to 25 miles a day, and they coordinate with us when they're 24 to 36 hours out. So we'll know the exact date and time and location, all that, and we'll get out to our community. We hope you all will be there to help us welcome them as they come. But in honor of the Walk for Peace, we do have some visitors here from our community, and I'd like to call them forward. And then Councilwoman Monica Peters, I'm going to ask you to come down too. She's taken a real leadership role in helping to coordinate so much of our community support, and we're really excited about this. So I'm looking forward to celebrating. Here we go. Whereas communities across the nation continue to seek opportunities to promote unity healing, and understanding in the time of social, cultural, and global challenges. And whereas the Walk for Peace is a multi-state walking pilgrimage traveling from Texas to Washington, D.C., bringing a message of peace, reflection, and compassion to the communities it passes through. And whereas Bhikkhu Panakara and a group of Buddhist monks are undertaking this journey on foot, demonstrating a commitment to peaceful dialogue, mindfulness, and mutual respect. And whereas the Walk for Peace passes through the Piedmont Triad region, providing an opportunity for residents to reflect on the shared values of kindness, personal responsibility, and respect for one another. And whereas this journey encourages people of all backgrounds, faiths, and beliefs to come together in a spirit of cooperation and goodwill, recognizing that peace begins within individuals and extends outward into our community. And whereas the City of High Point values initiatives that foster understanding, civility, and positive engagement amongst its residents and visitors, now therefore I, Cyril Jefferson, proud mayor of High Point, North Carolina, do hereby recognize and commend Bhikkhu Panakara, the participating Buddhist monks, and the organizers of the Walk for Peace, and welcome them as they pass through our region, acknowledging their efforts to promote peace, reflection, and unity within our community and beyond. Thank you. Thank you so much. Can I give this to two? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. It's good seeing you, cool. Thank you all. The next item for business is public comment period. During the first meeting of each month, we allow for a public comment period for residents from our community to come and speak on any topic of your choosing. You'll have 3 minutes to address council. We ask that you state your name and address for the record, as well as the topic that you'll be speaking on. We also encourage that if you're here with a group and you're all speaking on the same topic, that you feel free to designate one person, a spokesperson, if you like. So with that said, we'll call the first person on our list, Reverend Jamarcus Bunn.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
My name is Jamarcus Bunn, and I serve proudly as the senior minister of Temple Memorial Baptist Church here in High Point. I'm here to present a resolution on behalf of the church in regards to the Washington Terrace voting precinct. We write to formally express our strong opposition to the proposed closure or relocation of the Washington Terrace voting precinct and to urge its continued inclusion as an early voting site. This precinct is more than just a location. It is a historic, vital hub of community life in High Point. Relocating or eliminating this early voting site would place an undue and disproportionate burden on its residents, many of whom are elderly, working class, or without reliable transportation, thereby creating barriers to the fundamental right to vote. Such actions would weaken democratic participation and further marginalize communities that already face systemic inequalities. Temple Memorial Baptist Church affirms that access to the ballot is a moral, civic, and democratic imperative. We therefore respectfully call upon the North Carolina State Board of Elections to reevaluate this decision to preserve this voting precinct and demonstrate a commitment to fairness, inclusion, and equal access for all citizens. We stand ready to partner with you, to partner with our community leaders and elected officials to ensure that democracy remains accessible to all voters. Respectfully submitted, Reverend Jamarcus R. Bunn, Senior Minister, Temple Memorial Baptist Church, High Point, North Carolina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll call up Reverend Dr. Frank Thomas.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Again, my name is Frank Thomas. I serve as the pastor of Mount Zion Baptist Church, 753 Washington Street here in the city. Two items real quickly. Mayor has already alluded to Martin Luther King Day being next Monday. And one thing, the Ministers Conference of High Point and Vicinity every year hosts a breakfast and oratorical scholarship contest held at High Point University at 8 a.m. We want to thank the city for being a sponsor of that event and invite anyone who can and will to come and participate. If you've come in the past, you will know that although people say often that our future is going to hell in a handbasket, I believe after hearing these young people, you will see and know that our future is bright. So come out next Monday morning at 8 a.m. And then there are other services. High Point University service at 10:30. The Reverend Dr. Bishop Claude Alexander from the Park Church in Charlotte will be the preacher at High Point University. And then at 6 p.m. at Williams Memorial CME Church, our preacher for the evening will be Dr. Corey Walker, the Dean of the Wake Forest University School of Divinity. And secondly, Reverend Bunn has already spoken about Washington Terrace Park early voting. I echo his sentiments and the feelings of not just Temple Memorial, but many in the community. And I stand to publicly say and make sure it's on record that the community feels and feels strongly about Washington Terrace Park being an early voting site. I have expressed that to each member of the Board of Elections at the state in a personal way, and sent them a note to let them know how I feel and how we feel in the community. And for the record, I've said to them, if the vote were not that important, if it were not that meaningful, it would not be under attack.
Thank you. Next on our list is Beverly Bard.
Hi, I'm Beverly Jo Bard, 2205 Delane Point, High Point. I'm here to speak in support of the proclamation to keep Washington Terrace Park as our polling location. Back in the day, I was honored to educate voters about elections and how to vote. All was well until it was announced that a favorite polling location, Washington Terrace Park, was not going to be a polling location. We were sad. It was a favorite place for the community to connect. It was a convenient location where many voters were able to have easy access and were able to go vote. I informed many voters who didn't know what to do or where to go, and we did put a sign up on the door of Washington Terrace Park to inform the voters where the closest voting location was. Fortunately, this polling location was reopened again for the next election, and it was considered so important to the community that our chair made sure that we had greeters to help there at all open hours. Our volunteers made this happen, and once again, we were able to have our community connected to an area that was very friendly and popular with the people who lived in that area. Many voters walked, rode bikes, and brought their elderly relatives because it was the closest location for them. We're very sad to hear that Washington Terrace Park may not be a voting location this year. And I agree with this statement from the Legal Defense Fund, Common Cause North Carolina, and Southern Coalition of Social Justice. Guilford County's current early voting plan overlooks communities that have faced and continue to face barriers to early voting access. Without accessible early voting sites, many Black students and other voters will be disproportionately burdened or denied access to opportunities overwhelmingly supported by North Carolina voters, regardless of race, age, or party affiliation. Same-day voter registration, the ability to correct voter registration issues before Election Day, and the ability to vote early. Everyone has the right to fair opportunities for voting in an accessible place, regardless of who they are, where they live, or if they have access to private transportation. In the strongest terms, we firmly request that the State Board reject the current early voting plan that favors more resourced voters and instead pass a plan that provides equal opportunities for all voters to participate. I look forward to hearing that Washington Terrace Park will remain a polling location, and thank you very much for doing this resolution.
Thank you. Next on our list is Louis Thibodeau.
Good evening. My name is Louis Thibodeau. I reside at 1242 Kensington Drive, High Point. Mayor, City Council, audience, thank you for being here. I wanted to say a word first. In the Bible, in the book of John, it talks about chapter 14, verse 6. Jesus is speaking, and it says, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father but through me. Let me pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you that we can come to you. We thank you for sending your son Jesus and this holiday we just had in remembrance of what you've done for us for all eternity. And dear God, I thank you for the city council. And dear God, I pray that you'll help them in all that they do, that the decisions will reflect the city of all the citizens in this city. In your son's name I pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Next on our list is Representative Amanda Cook. I imagine you didn't get lost on your way here, did you?
No, I almost pulled into my parking spot and then I remembered I don't have one here anymore. But thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council, Madam Manager, everyone here. I came for one purpose, which was to invite everyone to a town hall that I'm hosting on January 24th at Oakview Recreation Center at 10 a.m. I want this to be an interactive opportunity for the community to participate in developing my legislative agenda for this upcoming session. And while I'm here, I would like to echo what's already been said and also to celebrate you for taking such an important action and hopefully passing a resolution this evening in support of bringing back Washington Terrace Park as a voting location for early voting. I was there in the room where they didn't even allow public comment. There were tons of protesters filling almost the entire chambers that afternoon. And I think what stood out to me was when we were told that voting is actually not a right, it's a privilege, according to the chair of our Board of Elections. So I find that to be abominable. We cannot support that type of action. We should protest, even if the odds are not in our favor. We should continue to speak up. I appreciate everyone who's here tonight doing that, who's written letters and spoken out in support of bringing back Washington Terrace Park. It's a special place, and anyone who's ever stood out there during voting knows that everyone becomes a community by the end. It's actually a very different location than anywhere else that you can volunteer and vote. So I just want to thank you. It's good to be here with you this evening. I am going to step out, but I hope that everything goes well in that vote in just a little while. And I miss you all and celebrate all the work that our amazing city council is doing. So,
Thank you. Next, we have Heidi Majors.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Madam Manager. I'm here on behalf of YWCA. My name is Heidi Majors. I'm the Executive Director there. Our address is 155 West Westwood, right down the road. As many others have shared, we are here to express our strong support for the designating of Washington Terrace Park as an early voting location for the primary election and all elections, that is. Washington Terrace's central location and ease of access make it an ideal site for voters, particularly in the surrounding neighborhoods. Providing early voting and all voting options in the core city helps reduce barriers, increases civic participation, and community engagement. This is a much-needed location for our voting options, for our community and our residents. And we thank you for taking this a step forward by adopting a resolution to send to our North Carolina Board of Elections. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. Yep.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and everybody. We are the Johnsons, the owners of the new High Point Pistons semi-professional basketball team that will be coming to High Point this upcoming 2026 and 2027 year. We are here because we introduced the team to High Point, to the community. We've been out, we've been about, we've been speaking, we've been posting flyers, we've been going to different areas and talking to people, but the funding, these people got to get paid, and the only way we can fund this team is through sponsorships. They need uniforms, they're going to need travel, they're going to need places to eat. These young men will be coming out of the communities in High Point. I can't pay them all. It has to be sponsorships that come. We've been doing fundraisers. We have an Martin Luther King Day exhibition game this Saturday, which will be the first game that we're putting together, and it will be at the Southside Recreation Center from 3 to 6 o'clock. But we are looking for the communities to come out. Our tryouts will start on the 21st of February, and they will run till March the 28th. And we will be at the various community centers so that we can get everybody involved in the different community centers. We elected to go to every recreation center and do a tryout so the different communities can get involved. But they need funding. We got 10 home games. We're going to have 10 away games. They're going to need a vehicle to travel. We have one of my coaches, which so happened owns his own business, that will be helping us with the uniforms. But we got to ensure that these young men have something that they're working hard for. Some of them might not have another opportunity except to play on this semi-pro team. But we will have agents there. We will have people working with them with a basketball resume to help them. You got some people coming out of communities that can't read. We're going to have people there that's going to be working with them as well. But we need funding, and we need it like now, because it is hard. I mean, I've done everything that I could to go out, to be out. My husband is out. We get off work, we're in High Point. On the weekends, we're in High Point. We're at the community centers. We're at High Point University speaking with Dr. Kubain. We're at different functions of the city of High Point. And now we're just asking that this is your team. This is out of High Point. These are the High Point Pistons. And these young men are really going to need your support in doing this and going further and being a success. Because as I said before, I don't plan on losing. Not to the Lakers or anybody. Mayor, I know that's your team. But we told you we're going to turn you into a Piston yet. And we are just excited, and we want the community of High Point to be as overjoyed as we are. We talk about this team, and my coaches are some older gentlemen they're out of High Point. They've been coaching some of our young men
Ms. Johnson,
throughout.
thank you so much. Sorry, that was our
Sorry,
timer.
I'm sorry.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we have Jason Hicks.
So good evening, City Council. My name is Jason Hicks. I'm an organizer with the Second Chance Federation, and I'm here tonight to support the City of High Point adopting a resolution requesting that the North Carolina Board of Elections include Washington Terrace Park as an early voting site for this year's election. Washington Terrace Park has long served as a trusted and accessible civic space. For decades, it has been a place people know, rely on, and feel comfortable coming to during early voting. That consistency matters, especially for residents who face transportation challenges, work non-traditional hours, or depend on community support to participate in our democracy. During the last early voting period, we as an organization hosted a trunk or treat or vote event at Washington Terrace Park in partnership with Commander Peace Academy and Careers for Kids, and hundreds of families participated. That event demonstrated that this is a space where people already gather, where trust exists, and where civic engagement can naturally take root. We will begin holding a Thursday Thoughts community conversation at Washington Terrace Park starting this Thursday, January 15th, from 6 to 7:30 p.m., focused on the thoughts and experiences of formerly incarcerated people. We intentionally chose this location because we understand the importance of this facility as a community space and as a place that has historically supported democratic participation. When a long-standing early voting site like Washington Terrace Park is removed, the impact is not evenly felt. It places additional burdens on seniors, working families, and residents in majority-minority neighborhoods. For many people in this community, this park is the most accessible pathway to civic participation. This request is about access, equity, and strengthening democracy at the local level. With the North Carolina Board of Elections scheduled to discuss this matter in the coming days, a resolution from this council will send a clear and timely message that High Point values inclusive and accessible democracy. I respectfully urge this council to support this resolution and advocate for the continued inclusion of Washington Terrace Park as an early voting site. I appreciate your leadership and your service to the people of High Point, and I hope to see you Thursday. Thank you.
Mr. Hicks, that event, Thursday Thoughts, is that every week or every month? Or how often does it take place?
We've locked in over at Washington Terrace Park for the third Thursday of every month, January through October of this year.
Third Thursday of every month, 6 to 7:30, Washington Terrace Park. Thursday
right.
Thoughts,
That's right.
conversations regarding formerly incarcerated. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Dr. Angie McMichael. Sorry about that. Sorry, was supposed to be Reverend McMichael? Okay, sorry. Yeah, sure, please.
Well, I'll take it. Praise the Lord, everybody. It's good to be here. I was actually thinking while I was listening to all of the comments, and greetings, Mayor, Madam Manager, and to all of City Council and to all of the community, that we've done Soul to the Polls for several years to Washington Terrace Park. And it's very necessary that we uplift this opportunity to keep it as an early voting site, because it is an access issue. And I just appreciate all of us coming together because of this opportunity to support keeping things within the community, because a lot of times we take them out and then we wonder why the community falls apart. And when you remove the backbone of a community, it's not able to thrive. And all of the work that you have done as a council and all of the work that we have done as a community, it starts to crumble. And so I'm just here to support this resolution and hope that tonight you will not only send it up, but that the State Board of Elections will hear it and that we will see the results of what civic engagement looks like. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Next, I have Reverend Greg Drumright.
Good evening, Mayor, and council, thank you for welcoming me to the chambers tonight. I'm here to stand with this community as a neighbor from the other side of the county to let you all know that we do implore you and encourage you to stand with your residency here in demanding their right to vote and not beg for a privilege. I just want to recall a lesser-known case that is not very often uplifted in this conversation around voter rights. A 1972 decision in the Dunn versus Bloomstein case where Justice Thurgood Marshall, of all people, made it clear that citizens have a constitutionally protected right to participate in elections on an equal basis with other citizens in that jurisdiction. And to Reverend Thomas's notion earlier, if this wasn't a threat to our democracy, we would not be here discussing it. And so I know I'm preaching to the choir tonight, and so I believe that this council will do the right thing. So let me preach not to you, but to those who might be listening to us, that folks all over Guilford County will not tolerate what is happening to the folks of East High Point. We will stand, we will scream, we will preach, we will shout, and y'all know what I do, we will march until Washington Terrace Park is included in this community's places for early voting. This is another tactic of voter suppression, but here now in 2026. And it will not be tolerated. Not only will the students of North Carolina A&T not tolerate it on our side of town, the seniors here in East High Point will not tolerate it. So please, send this resolution and know that we stand with you in doing so. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have on the list here, but if there's anyone else who wishes to speak during public comment period, you can feel free to come on up. We'll ask that you state your name and address for the record, and then you'll have 3 minutes to address council.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and those that are here. I am coming. There have been a number of comments that have been made about Washington Terrace Park and what the North Carolina Board of Elections has in mind. Back in 2020, I made a decision to be a part of the voter registration and get out the vote drive. And I worked at Washington Terrace Park. It was enlightening. It was eye-opening. And as we stand, or as we sit here talking about this issue, then I stand united with everybody else who is in opposition to what the North Carolina Board of Elections has proposed. And I have just one thing to say, and it comes out of Scripture. And I oftentimes stand on this regarding issues like this. They that dig a ditch for others will fall into it themselves, and they that roll a stone will have it roll back on them. Thank you.
Thank you. Forgive me, just one second, Joe. I forgot to get name and address for the record. And if you just want to write it on a note and share it with us, we'll get it down. That'll be fine. Okay. Joe Barnes?
Yes. Happy New Year, Mayor, Madam City Manager, and Council. Happy New Year to y'all. It's good to see everybody. Happy New Year. My name's Joe Barnes. I live at 4333 Poplar Creek Lane, High Point. I also pastor a church at 609 Amos Street, Victory Chapel, which is on the south side of High Point. And I also am employed by the United Way. And I've been working with the Board of Elections for the last 20 years as a poll worker, and now serve as a coordinator for about 10 precincts. And I came to say thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you for considering sending this resolution to keep Washington Terrace Park as an early voting site. From my experience over 20 years, it is a very busy precinct. There are people running in from lunch, people working on second shift, coming by, voting, and then going on into work. So it's a very convenient stop-off site. And when you look from the map from Fairfield or just the brink where Guilford County ends, down around Fairfield and South Main, that is the closest precinct for Southside residents to early vote. The next precinct is all the way out at Deep River. So this is a great decision to let the Board of Election in Raleigh know that it's the wrong choice. Finally, on behalf of all those that have voted at that precinct, some of those voters are City of High Point employees that are on their lunch break. Some of those voters are Marsh Furniture. Some of those voters are from Guilford County Health Department, Guilford County Department of Social Services, Atrium Health, Wake Forest, High Point Regional, High Point University, Thomas Bus, the downtown employees, Southside residents and businesses. All of those folks can stop there instead of having to try to get all the way out to Deep River to do early voting. So thank you to help these citizens and these employees have their right to vote. And may God bless each and every one of you.
Thank you. Please feel free to step forward. If you'll state your name and address for the record, and then you've got 3 minutes to address council.
Thank you. I appreciate you seeing me, or actually letting me speak. My name is Angie Williams. I've stopped by to introduce myself. It's the address is 2409 Investor Court. It's the Northwood Community Center. I work for Operation Excel. I'm the brand new development director. 60 days in, and so here we go with this. I just don't know how much you guys know about Operation Excel. We're an after-school, a free after-school learning program for at least 2 sites here in High Point, one at Northwood, one at Southwest, and then the greater High Point area in Jamestown. We focus on academic excellence, emphasis on STEM education to deal with career readiness, and the emotional and social learning with our kids. We serve kids between kindergarten and 8th grade. And I really was just stopping by to introduce the program. And we would love to see you. Come by anytime you'd like.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And if you want to come forward and just state your name and address for the record, you've got 3 minutes to address council.
Yes. My name is Milan Mosley, 1420 Wiltshire Street. I just wanted to add my voice to the chorus of support for keeping the voting location in Washington Terrace Park. I myself am a former employee of Washington Terrace Park, and I know it's as a essential centralized location for the area. If you're familiar with where Wiltshire Street is, you know it's around or in the 5 Points neighborhood. It's a neighborhood that has a lot of what feels like a flight of resources, but I also feel like it's a potential hub for opportunity, or to sort of revitalize and rekindle a fervor among the people around there. The last vote my father ever cast was in 2019. He was experiencing kidney failure, he was visually impaired, and he was so physically diminished that my mother had to help him walk in the voting location. But he was so committed to exercising his right to vote that he braved all of these hurdles and challenges to exercise that right. But if he did not have this polling location right down the street, no amount of bravery would have allowed him to cast that vote that was so important to him. Washington Terrace Park was where I cast my first ballot, 2016 primary. My candidate didn't win, but I was happy to be able to, on my way to school, 30 minutes away, just to cast my vote and drop my support there. I would really, really appreciate if we kept this system, this part of the world that connects 5 Points to the rest of the city active. Just sitting here hearing about the Second Chance program by the Martin Luther King breakfast reminded me of how many opportunities the city had that I was able to take advantage of as a child. And I don't want to see those opportunities lessened and diminished. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and close our public comment period and say thank you to everyone who showed up this evening to participate in our meeting. Thank you so much. Our next order of business is our consent agenda. And if council is ready, then we'll entertain a motion. So moved.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Moore, that's a motion to approve. And a second to Councilman Andrew. Any discussion on the motion to approve our consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any against? The ayes have it, and that motion passes. Under general business, the first item that we'll take up is one of our added agenda items, and that is for the vote for a new Mayor Pro Tem for the calendar year 2026. For those who do not know, this council has had I don't know how long the tradition has been, but as long as I've been on council, every year we rotate Mayor Pro Tems and have been grateful to have had a fantastic Mayor Pro Tem in the calendar year 2025. Before that, we had Councilman Holmes, who was Mayor Pro Tem in calendar year 2024. And so at this time, we'll consider a motion for the new Mayor Pro Tem. And to do that, I'm actually going to pass it and recognize Councilwoman Vicky McKeever.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to nominate Monica Peters as our new Mayor Pro Tem.
There's a motion and a second from Councilmember Johnson. Any discussion on this motion to nominate and appoint Councilwoman Peters as our Mayor Pro Tem for calendar year 2026?
If I may, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I remember the last time she was Mayor Pro Tem. She did an excellent job. And we were coming out of COVID, and a lot of things were bearing down on us, and she did excellent work, bringing us into the next era.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Any other comments or discussion?
I just want to say, this is my first term being on council, and I have learned a lot from Monica. And she's always been very supportive of me, and always, if I call and ask a question or need some information, she'll go out her way to make sure that I receive it. And I just want to say I'm so thankful for that, and I know you do a good job as our Mayor Pro Tem.
Any other comments? If not, then we'll go ahead and call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any against? The ayes have it, and that motion passes. Welcome, Mayor Pro Tem Peters. Our next agenda item is consideration of a resolution urging the North Carolina Board of Elections regarding early voting at Washington Terrace Park. You all have heard about it in public comment, but for the official record, I'm going to read the resolution that we have here. A resolution of the City Council of the City of High Point, North Carolina, urging the North Carolina State Board of Elections to approve an early voting plan for Guilford County that includes Washington Terrace Park as an in-person early voting site for the 2026 elections. That includes primary and general. Whereas the City of High Point recognizes voting access as a cornerstone of civic participation and public trust, the city has a strong interest in ensuring that eligible High Point residents can cast ballots in a manner that is reasonably accessible, fair, and non-discriminatory. And whereas North Carolina law provides for in-person early voting and requires county boards of elections to propose an early voting plan for the county, subject to review and approval by the North Carolina State Board of Elections, and further provides that when a county board is unable to reach unanimity on a plan, the state board must adopt a plan for said county, and in doing so, must take into consideration whether the plan disproportionately favors any party, racial, or ethnic group or candidate. And whereas Washington Terrace Park, located at 101 Gordon Street, High Point, North Carolina, has historically served as an in-person early voting location used and recognized by High Point residents. And whereas the City Council finds that removing Washington Terrace Park as an early voting site would place an additional and avoidable hardship on High Point residents, including residents with limited access to transportation, seniors, working families, and residents who benefit from a familiar, proximate voting location. And whereas the City Council further finds that changes to early voting site availability can have disproportionate impacts on majority and minority neighborhoods and communities of color when accessible sites are removed without providing an equally convenient and practical alternative serving the same area. And whereas the State Board has a current and time-sensitive role in ensuring that early voting plans are finalized for the March 2026 primary election, with early voting scheduled to begin on February 12, 2026, and end on February 28, 2026, and with certain county schedules not yet finalized. Now therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of High Point, North Carolina as follows. Section 1. City Council respectfully urges the North Carolina State Board of Elections to approve or to adopt, if necessary, an early voting plan for Guilford County for the 2026 elections that includes Washington Terrace Park at 101 Gordon Street, High Point, North Carolina, as an in-person early voting site with days and hours of operation consistent with applicable state standards. Section 2, the City Council specifically requests that, in exercising a statutory review and approval authority, the State Board give weight to the practical accessibility of early voting for High Point residents who have transportation constraints and to the risk of disproportionate impacts on communities of color and majority-minority neighborhoods if Washington Terrace Park is excluded without an equally suitable, comparably proximate alternative serving the same area. Section 3, the City Council further requests that the State Board and any reviewing bodies consider Washington Terrace Park's history as a recognized early voting location for High Point residents and the public interest in maintaining continuity and clarity in voting options that residents already know and trust. Section 4, the mayor and the city clerk are hereby directed to transmit a certified copy of this resolution to the executive director and members of the North Carolina State Board of Elections, to the Guilford County Board of Elections, and to the city's legislative delegation with the request for prompt consideration in advance of the State Board's final action on Guilford County's 2026 early voting plan. Section 5, this resolution is effective upon adoption, adopted this 12th day of January 2026. That is the resolution. At this time, I'll go ahead and make the motion for approval. Is there a second? Second, recognized to Councilman Holmes. At this time, we'll entertain discussion on that motion.
My apologies. Mr. Mayor, thank you for the opportunity. I spent some time digging into data. I have some information to share which will help us make our decision. All of this data comes from the ncsb.gov website, and I pulled information for the past 18 years, going back to 2008, which was the earliest statistical data which was available. There are two sets of information that we need to consider: the primary elections and the general. So as far as Washington Terrace for the general elections, it was used for all of the general elections except 2010. So 2008, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. And our assumption, because the list for the the November election for 26 isn't out yet. However, for the primary elections, Washington Terrace is only used approximately 50% of the times from those elections. In the May 2008 primary, High Point had 3 early voting locations. Washington Terrace was not one of them. May 4th, 2010 primary, High Point only had 2 early voting locations. Washington Terrace was not one of them. May 8th, 2012 election, There were 3 early voting locations for High Point. Washington Terrace was one. May 6, 2014, only 2 early voting locations. Washington Terrace was one. March 15, 2016, 3 early voting locations. Washington Terrace was one. May 8, 2018, 2 early voting locations. Washington Terrace was one. March 3rd, 2020, 2 early voting locations. Washington Terrace was not a location. May 17th, 2022, 2 early voting locations. Washington Terrace was not. March 5th, 2024, 4 early voting locations in High Point. Washington Terrace was one. And then the current proposal is 3 early voting locations exempting Washington Terrace. The statistical mode for voting locations for High Point is 2. 5 times it was used twice. 3 times there were 4 locations. My recommendation would be to keep with the trend of having the mode of 3 early voting locations. Perhaps we can recommend switching out color for Washington Terrace, which will be consistent with the previous data. Or if we want to go 4 would be, well, not unprecedented, but it would only be the second time in the past 20 years where the city of High Point had 4 early voting locations for the primary. Once we get to the general, there have been significantly more early voting locations. If we expand to Guilford County, we've had a low of 5 early votings for midterms. There was the 2002 midterm, and as high as 28 early voting locations, which was a 2024 presidential. Currently, the proposal on the table is to have 10 Guilford County early voting locations, but Washington Terrace is exempt.
Thank you for that data. Do you mind clarifying, just for everyone listening, what the High Point early voting sites are for this primary election?
For this primary, the early voting locations that are proposed are Deep River Rec Center, the Roy Culler Senior Center, and I included Jamestown because it's close enough, but Jamestown Town Hall.
Okay. In terms of city proper, it's Deep River, and then Roy B. Culler, which is at our old Oak Hollow Mall, just for those who.
And then, just because people have brought Deep River quite a bit, the first time Deep River was used as an early voting location was the March 3rd, 2020 election. Previously, it was not used.
Yeah. I appreciate that data and it being shared, and I'm certainly someone who understands how the more early voting sites we have contributes to more resources being used at different sites. I wouldn't be against the argument if they want to swap out color for terrace. I wouldn't be against that. I don't know if anyone else here would be against that. I don't know at this time if we'd be ready to change the resolution to include that, but we can certainly, in our communication that the clerk and I have that we send off, that we can say, hey, if you have to consider swapping because you want to keep it limited to 10, then we could do that. If I could just sort of see from the group here if there's consensus in terms of if we had to request that let's just say they want to keep it at 10 and they're like, we can't add Washington Terrace and keep the other ones. I'd love to just hear thoughts in terms of what Councilman Andrews sort of threw out there, which is swapping color for Washington Terrace.
So I prefer having Washington Terrace for several reasons. One reason is it's the only one that's located in the south area of High Point. It does, which it's southwest and Allen J and all that goes down into my ward. So all that area. I go to Washington Terrace. I take my 93-year-old aunt every election, and we go to Washington Terrace and we go downtown and eat at the Doghouse. Good old American hot dog. So I just feel that the Washington Terrace has really great parking. The greeters, like I think Beverly was talking about the greeters, they are all so kind. They are so helpful to my aunt. She loves going there. And so I think that it would not be in our best interest as the citizens of High Point to not have a south area to vote, early vote.
Thank you for that. And any other feedback? And I see Councilman Andrew has another thought.
Yeah.
After that, we'll go Councilman Moore.
Yeah, my apologies. I didn't take into account population in my statistical analysis. I should have done that. But geographically, it does make sense to have something on the south. The challenge is 4 early voting sites is rare. 3 is more often. Basically, the past 20 years, it's been 3 4 times, 2 5 times, and 4 once.
Yeah. Councilman Moore?
I appreciate that too. It does show that things change, and there was a differential between primaries versus general elections. But you certainly want, I would echo that if they needed to close Roy Color to make it more palatable, then I'm fine with that. The distance between the two is 2.3 miles. So if that helps to do that. But I think also for the record, and if I read this correctly, then good, but if there's somebody that can correct me. But in the wording, it states that when a county board is unable to reach unanimity on a plan, the state board may adopt a plan for the county. So apparently that indicates to me that the county wasn't able to come to a consensus on what they wanted. So, and now the time compression of the election's coming up, so there has to be a decision to be made, but just wanted that to be out there, that the county had an opportunity and was not able to get there.
Yeah, that's a great point. Any other thoughts? Here? Okay. If it's all right with the group, for the record, we'll have the resolution as is, but if you'll trust that in the communication that the clerk and I will send, we'll make sure to say that if for some reason you all want to keep your county early voting capped at 10, and it could just be that for resources they want to do that, then we say that respectfully, based on what we're hearing, we'd love to see Color, which is right there at Oak Hollow Mall. Now, I think HBU owns that site now, that be swapped out for Washington Terrace. That way the south side of our town isn't left with this gap in terms of having early voting locations. If it's all right and agreeable for this group, then we'll make sure to include that in our communication. At this time, I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any against? The ayes have it, and that motion passes. Thank you so much. All right. We have come to the end of our meeting here, and are there any announcements from the dais?
Mr. Mayor, I have one. Yes, so the Stitching Stories exhibit at the ribbon cutting today, this is an art installation that's based upon a quilt that women who were in prison during COVID couldn't talk to anybody because of COVID and the restrictions, and they created this quilt as a way of building connections, and this is an art installation based on that to hear their stories. It's a partnership between Resilience High Point and the High Point Public Library. Will be there till February 18th, and there's some programming around it too. So you might want to check that out, the Resilience High Point website. It's open every day.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And to be clear, when you go to the library, you can see the exhibit outside. It's right out there in the parking lot inside a shipping container, right?
That's correct. Yep.
From 9 to 4, you can see the exhibit Monday through every day. Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. Okay. Any other comments from the dais?
Yes,
Yep.
Mr. Mayor. I want to say that as we approach another dawning of the King holiday, that what we saw here tonight contributes to the legacy of Dr. King. When we talk about voting access, when we talk about the voices of my marginalized communities, Dr. King, at his own detriment to his life, spoke out. And you coming out tonight, speaking on behalf of those who use Washington Terrace Park as an early voting site, is exactly what we have to do in these times. Dr. King famously said that when the final bell is rung, what we will remember is not the voices of our enemies, but the silence of our allies. And so if you are allied to any community that is marginalized, that is voiceless, it is your moral imperative to speak up and speak out.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Any other announcements from the dais?
Just don't forget, registration deadline for voting is February 6th. That's right. It's coming up quick, so please take advantage of the opportunity. Make sure you're registered. Make sure that you are registered.
And even if you've registered in the past, you'll want to just check the record to confirm. Sometimes the data in the records on voting, if there's a mistake with the letter out of place or number out of place, it could have been scrubbed from the record. And so you can check that fairly easily by going to look that up. We encourage folks just to go check it so you can take advantage of your constitutional right and be a part of what makes America so great, which is that we choose our form of government and how our government works rather than the other way around. So, and any other announcements from the dais?
My last comment as Mayor Pro Tem is thank you for the opportunity to serve and the trust and go Steelers.
That's an amazing.
Not going to happen, Councilman Moore.
Amazing way to end it.
Quite the segue.
You realize the Panthers lost on Saturday. You can't do us like that. I will say thank you to everyone for the comments and announcements. Thank you everyone who showed up this evening to speak. We're excited about the Walk of Peace. Feel free to stay tuned. I imagine on our city social media, as much information as we get, we'll try to share whenever that information becomes available. I do want to clarify for those who aren't sure, this is our only regular city council meeting this month. This is the only one. So we did the meeting today. We didn't do first and third Monday because of the New Year holiday. So this is our only regular city council meeting this month. Next time we'll be here on City Hall for a city council meeting will be Monday, February 2nd. 5:30 will be our next regular city council meeting, then February 16th. And then please note that in March, we have another adjusted schedule because of the National League of Cities holiday and us going to advocate to legislators. We've got March 2nd for our meeting, and then we don't meet again until March 23rd. So just for those who are listening, for the record, I know there's a number of folks who come and attend meetings that this is the only meeting for this month, and then we are back on 1st and 3rd in February, and then we are 1st and 4th in March. So stay tuned for more updates. We appreciate you all being here. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Motion's been made by Councilmember Holmes and seconded by Councilmember Johnson. Any discussion on the motion?
I finally got one.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against? The ayes have it, and we are adjourned.